Okay, how's it going, guys? We're working on the E46. This was the, flip around so you can see it here. This was the 323, and we did the head gasket on it, did the time search, so everything was great. It'd been sitting here waiting on the wheel bearing to get done, and I've been putting it off. As you can see, it's laying there on the floor, and it came up here 2 days ago and it wouldn't start. Spray it with carburetor cleaner and the intake, and it would start right up, run until the carburetor cleaner is out of it, and then it would die when it started again. So what we've done here, we pretty much narrowed it down to the fuel pump. These don't really have much of a fuel pump problem as far as them going bad. However, this thing was basically totally out of fuel and it's sitting on a little bit of an incline, so I would say the pump is probably sitting out of the gas, except for a few weeks, probably 3 at the most. So I think what we're down to is, since the pump's set out of the gas, it probably is stuck or corroded or whatever from not being in liquid. I don't know, it sounds good anyway. So what we've done here, we hooked up the voltmeter. On the E46, we're on the passenger side, and you can see the seats up here on top. All you do is just grab the seat and pull it up in the front. It unlocks it off of these, and then, as you can see, this plate bolts over here, flips over. You got 4 10mm bolts, and takes the lid off. It's real simple. So what we're going to do here, we got 4 wires going to the pump. Obviously 2 of them is the level sensor and 2 of them is the pump. If you look on the wires here, obviously there's only one way it could possibly be. The 2 big wires are going to be to the pump. The positive and negative, depends on which is which. We just took a guess at it. We stuck our voltmeter in here. Our voltmeter is at 0. Okay, so our voltmeter is at 0. The key is off. Now I'm going to start off with just by turning the key on, and it should jump to 12 volts. Key's just on. Well, it's actually minus 12, so we have our leads flipped around. Let's go and flip the leads back around, and we'll get it to positive. Okay, so you flip the leads back around, turn the key on, and now we're positive, right? So we're going to go ahead and turn it back off. We're going to go ahead and crank it. It's going to go to 0. Now we're going to go and crank it. While you're cranking it, and you stop, and it goes to 0. So you're going to get the initial prime from the pump, the initial squirt when you turn the key on, and then it's not going to pump anymore until you actually crank the engine. Okay, so that tells us we're getting power to the pump, so we know it's working good up to here. This pump obviously has never been taken out. It still has the OEM clamp on it. Got some mouse snacks down there. We're going to turn our voltmeter off so we don't ruin the battery or drown the battery dead. So at this point in time, this is what we're going to do. Now you might want to take a vacuum and vac this crap out of here, but for right now we're going to take some PB Blaster and we're going to spray this rusty ass ring, and that's going to make it so much easier to get off. And you see these little notches right here. What we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take a screwdriver and a hammer, and we're going to slip this ring and take it off. Before you take the ring off, this is not a removable clamp, this is a permanent clamp. We're going to take a pair of dikes or wire cutters, and they should be really sharp. These are not very sharp. We're going to carefully pinch it, and we're going to gently twist it. Now, if you twist it too hard, that rubber nipple is plastic. I need to go find my better set of these, but I don't know where they're at. So we're going to try to do it with these. We're just going to squeeze it, ever so gently twist it. If you break it off, you're going to have to buy a new sending unit. You don't want to do that. Let me go find my sharp repair. These actually work the best. It's actually a nibbler type dikes. And we're going to go in here, we're just going to squeeze it and gently wiggle it. It's a lot easier if you use 2 hands, which I might set you down and do that so don't snap it off. So what I've done here, use 2 hands. I've pinched it so hard that it's actually cut it, and that's what you want right there. You want to slip it out of there, and that's trash. You're going to put a regular hose clamp back on that. So for this guy here, you don't want to just pull it off there, you might ruin it. So let's go ahead and get that taken off there the correct way. Okay, so a lot of guys will just try to rip that off there, they'll shatter it. You want to put a pair of pliers on it, and you want to turn it, and you can hear it breaking loose. So go ahead and grab it gently right behind here. You're gonna kind of wiggle it back off of there. And I actually might put some PB Blaster in the front of this thing. Try to spray it actually up in the hose, and that's gonna creep up in there and break it loose. Yeah, tremendously helped. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get this off of there. Everything is nearly impossible to do one-handed. Alright, let me set the camera down and we'll do it. So we got it off here. I took my hand and ripped it off. It came off real easy. You can see that PB Blaster already worked its way up in there. So we're going to take a hammer and a screwdriver. What the hell is that? Some kind of freaking nasty goo on there. Okay, let's go ahead and scrape that off. We're going to take a hammer and screwdriver. We're going to take this pump out. Okay, so what we've done here, take an old screwdriver. Don't use a good one because it'll probably ruin it. And we've turned it counterclockwise by getting in these notches and hammering it like that. This whole ring will screw off once you break it loose. You set it up there, and right here is your pump. So it should come out easy. If not, we might have to get something to pry it out. Yep, came right out. And we're going to lift it up here. What you're going to do, gently fish it out. You're going to have to compensate for all the crap in there. Get out of there. Your sending unit and all that kind of business. Get it out of the car, and now we'll dump all that stuff off the top of it in the gravel here, so we're nice and free. So we're gonna go ahead and I guess test the pump at this point. I guess we should test it in there. We know it's not working since we tested the power going to it. Knows that power going to it. So I'm guessing it's probably stuck. So let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, so here's the pumps. We took this pump out, and the screen on the bottom fit real loose and little rings not tight. It was just dangling. I put a different one on there so it fit tight. Thought that was a problem. That was not the problem. You could hear the pump hum, so I'm guessing it probably sucked something up since that was so loose and got in the pump and stuck it. So here's the one we're going to replace it with. It's the one from the X5. It's ever so slightly different, but it'll work fine. It also comes with a new one of these. So all we've done at this point in time, this thing sits in there with 3 little prongs. We just snapped it out of the little rubbers and then pushed down on this, and it falls off. Obviously you have to use more force than that, but it's not too hard to get off, and then your pump's out. Now on this upper hose, I was trying to cut this off, and I ended up breaking it off the old pump. 50-50 shot whether you do that. You can look down in there and see rust in it or something in it. And so we're going to go ahead and get this out of here and put the new pump in the new holder. So here we are, all reassembled, ready to go back in. We popped it back in the plastic holder. We went ahead and reworked this. We ended up cutting the end of this hose off, this brown hose, and we've put a hose clamp on it, tightened down with a ratchet. We put the wires back on it. Everything is neat, tight, tucked away, and we have our new screen on the bottom. So let's go install it and see what the deal is here. Okay, so number one trick to installing this, make sure your notch back here is lined up with the one in the back, and make sure your nozzle is pointing the right way, which it is. Now you want to take the rubber grommet and you want to go ahead and tuck it down in the gas tank first, because if you don't, you will literally never get this thing in there. Let me see if I go ahead and do her one-handed here to show you how easy it is when you do it that way. Okay, and go ahead and put it down the rest of the way. And there it is. And it'll sit right in there when you do that. You notice the notch is lined up back here. Always, 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 always put the rubber grommet in the gas tank first. Then, before you hook your hose up, which is right here, go ahead and spin this guy back on. This thing's pretty damn pretty damn rusty. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and spin that back on. And we're gonna take our hammer and a screwdriver and we're gonna tighten it up just where it's snug. Okay, so here we are. We're back installed. We just hammered the ring around once we started by hand. This is really probably a 20-minute job. But you know how things go. 20 minutes to do this, let's say 30 recording it, and another 30, almost 40 minutes looking for another clamp. So let's go ahead and see if the car is going to start up and see if that fixes the problem. So let's go and see if she's going to start up. We'll go ahead and, yep, starts right up. And you can see this car just sitting, all the light indicators that are on, and the ABS stuff. So we'll go ahead and work on getting all that stuff done. But as of right now, this car is fixed, and probably going to go ahead and try to do the AC on that Ford Excursion later. So we need to get this thing buttoned up and put back together. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.